Okay, let's call the meeting to order at 6:12. Thank you, everybody, for such good attendance to our August meeting. And I do want to just do a verbal roll call since we don't have visual here in the community room. So Lynn is here, Bethany, Lindy, Selena, Sarah, and myself, Heather Miche. And online we have Bruce and Teresa. Thank you guys for being here. So any public comment? We don't have anyone. Did you get anything, Sarah, for public comment?
There are no members of the public in attendance.
Correct. And looking at our minutes from the past meeting, our June meeting, are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? Yes, Lena.
At the bottom where it mentions the cycle of life of salmon, B just needs to be corrected. It's currently HE and so T and G.
Gotcha. Typo.
On the agenda?
No, on the
Oh,
June minutes. It's the life cycle.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, let's, if I can get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from our June meeting. Thank you, Bethany. And seconded by Lynn. Great. And all in favor of the corrected minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. Passed. And Sarah is up with new business.
All right. So I am going to share my screen, which is you're not going to be missing much because you can't see us really anyway. So this the way here. So the restaurant fundraisers, we're super excited about this, and I brought paper copies for everyone who's here in the room. We have 6 locations for Dining Around Sandy that are going to, so each location on the day on the flyer is going to give between 10 and 25% of the sales between those hours to the mobile library. And the money will either go to the Friends of Sandy Library or the Friends of Hoodlum Library. We're super excited. So Heather just passed out the Sandy flyer. And when you do for 2 of them, Chipotle and Panda Express, you have to either use an online code if you're going to order online and pick up, or you have to have a physical flyer in your hand when you go in to prove that that's what you're doing. You're supporting the library. So we've got Chipotle and Panda Express if you want those as well. And then we have 3 locations in Welch's. So I did attach the Dine Around Sandy flyer because it was ready when we went to press here. So we've got Chipotle, Boring Brewing, Panda Express, Scoop and Swirl, Dairy Queen, and Brady's Brats and Burgers on our list. And then the Welch's one wasn't quite ready. So for those of you online, the Welch's locations are Cooper's Wine Bar, Dairy Queen, and the Rendezvous Bar and Grill.
Nice.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice score, Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So we're super excited. So dine out and fuel the mobile library. So
Invite your friends.
yes.
Yeah. Family.
Invite friends, family, everybody you can. Let them know. And so for those of you that are on the screen right now, you can go to the library website, and so you can show the physical flyer on your phone when you go to Panda Express or Chipotle. So you can go from the library website and get that, or you can get the code to order online on the library website as well. So
And tell me again, how much of the proceeds goes to?
It depends on the place.
Okay.
It's between 10 and 25%.
Also being posted to the social media page for.
Yep. Alex is planning on doing the main pages and then weekly doing the individual restaurants that are participating. Yeah,
Do you have paper flyers in the library? as
we
well?
do.
And I might with a couple extra and see if some other city. Someone goes into pay their bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that we've sent the flyers to the community center to post there. And I can take some over to City Hall. Yeah. I'm hoping that most of the people at City Hall are actually on the library newsletter, so they would have already gotten this information. Because we did a special newsletter, right, for the mobile library, which most of you probably hopefully saw. Excellent. And this information was in that newsletter as well. So you can pull up that newsletter and get to the physical flyers and the online codes as well.
So just a clarification question, Sarah, and that is, this isn't sufficient to use the code off of this.
If you're gonna order online, you use the code. But
Okay.
if you go in person, Chipotle and Panda Express
Uh-huh, okay,
want a physical flyer or a physical thing on your phone to show them.
okay.
They're very specific about it. so.
It's their contribution, they have. it's
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So if you want to stand outside Chipotle or Panda Express on those days and hand them out to everybody who's walking through the door.
Great. Nice work, Sarah.
And
Any-
those are really hard to get, so well done.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Those
Yeah.
I mean, they're so particular about how many they will let happen a month, so I mean, to be able to, that's incredible.
And we're still possibly working on another round. I know that the Zigzag is interested and but they were sort of slower in responding because she was trying to come up with a literary drink menu to go
Oh.
for as a special thing for the event. So, yeah. And it's possible that we can get a pizza place in Sandy to join in.
Pick the new one up, pick the
The,
new one up, the,
oh,
where,
Like Happy
Live
was.
Happy was.
yeah,
Say, well, you
I
wanna be a
haven't
great,
talked to them.
wanna be a great citizen here in
Yeah.
town, and
And I have a lead on a couple other places that might join, so we'll see. We may do a second round at the end of September and into October. Any questions or thoughts from online?
Nope.
Just think it's super cool. Excited.
I am too. So let's see here. That was just that piece. This is gonna be hard. So they have updated how this gets downloaded, so I can't just can't go click through as easy, so bear with me. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is the citywide behavior policy. And this is an ordinance that was passed by the city council, and I wanted to just give you the whole breadth of it and talk a little bit about how you would suggest I take parts of it to put in our behavior policy. Because generally the library board approves our policies, but because this is a citywide policy, and the goal of this policy was to help the police department be able to effectively handle disruptions in the community, no matter where, if they're in a facility, a park, and transit, all of those things, they would know there was one way to deal with it, because right now there are multiple ways to deal with things, or there were, now not anymore. You know, I sort of looked through the policy and highlighted some pieces that I felt like we might need to have to move into our policies, because of course we have all of our public policies on our website so that people can refer to them and look at them and know how to behave and how everything that the library does from the public side, public point of view. So, any thoughts? I mean, I can obviously leave out the whole parks and transit pieces. But the rest of the policy is still much longer than our old policy used to be. But a lot of it is still applicable, so. I could do the main pieces and then link to the full policy if people wanted more information about it.
How does that affect Hoodland? Obviously, we're not governed by Sandy. And
Well,
we
it
have no
is-
police force.
Yeah.
It is a facility that's run by the city of Sandy. So they would still fall
But
within
we-
this policy.
Sandy Police has no standing, Hoodland. We're under the sheriff.
Right, you are under the sheriff's department, but
That's even
sometimes when Hoodland calls the police, the Sandy police are still the ones who are sent up there because the sheriff's department doesn't have a body to send up. So you're right. In theory, you sort of fall under here, but in practice, it would be the sheriff's department who would be implementing this. But generally, the staff let the police know what they want to do, how long they want to try to exclude somebody for. And one of the main changes in this policy is that it requires us for things that are not a felony to give a warning and give the opportunity for the person to comply with the policy. So I'm not sure in practice how it's gonna work up at Headland.
I imagine, generally in terms of what's acceptable behavior, it would be fine. I'm always a little concerned with sensitivities on the mountain that if they're looking at a policy and it links back to Sandy City Council says and people are gonna go.
Yeah.
Into optics or real life. It's, yeah.
We could,
But in terms of general behavior, it doesn't really matter.
right. I mean, we haven't excluded anyone up at the Hoodland Library in years.
Yeah.
I mean, generally what happens up there, if there are other library patrons in the building, they help the staff
Yeah.
get people to comply. Or, somebody leaves and we don't necessarily exclude them, but they don't necessarily come back.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
we could think about though, because the exclusion needs to be in writing. We could think about having an exclusion in writing at the Hoodland Library that the staff could sort of fill out and hand to the sheriff,
Yeah, should they ever need.
should they need
Yeah.
to exclude somebody.
Yeah. That might work.
Yeah,
What do you think, Teresa?
Yeah, I had the same question, Lynn. I agree, Sarah. I think that's a practical solution. And in terms of putting it on the website, I think just in a sentence summarizing what you just said as to why it's a Sandy policy but relevant at the Hoodland location would be sufficient answer for anybody who really feels the need to, dig into the library's policies, which I would also expect are few and far between.
yeah. Okay. I will make sure that when I update our policy with this information, that we do at least a line about Hoodland and just,
It would be redundant or helpful if there was a statement saying that even though this is City of Sandy policy, that because City of Sandy manages, governs the Hoodland Library, that this policy is also pertinent to the Hoodland branch,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
I agree.
And so that would give, sheriff, it would be really clear for the staff.
Mhm.
And then also presenting it to someone if they needed to.
We're gonna be talking about the changes that this policy is gonna have for staff in our buildings at our staff meeting coming up in August. So I will have to work through lots of that before that meeting with my supervisory staff.
How much of a problem is it in Sandy? How often have we had to?
I would say almost monthly. Sometimes, yeah, and they're for varying lengths of time, some of them are 1 month, some of them are permanent exclusions, so.
Would you feel comfortable sharing some of the reasons why you've had to exclude people in the past?
Drug use in the library is a main one.
Is that a permanent exclusion?
It's a permanent exclusion. And even if it's permanent, and even in this policy, the person can always come back and appeal it after a year and ask to be allowed back in. So there is the ability to, look at somebody's life, and the city manager would make that decision to allow somebody back in with discussion with the police department and probably me. We would have so drug use is a main one. Yelling and not complying with staff's requests.
And this tightens that up. a little bit, right?
Yes, yes, and it has a whole list of behaviors that are not appropriate and things like that. So yes. There are some things that don't fall on the list and aren't a felony. This is unfortunate to say, but recently we had somebody who went to the bathroom on the bathroom floor purposefully, and leaving the building yelled what they had done. So the police,
Is it an adult?
yes, well, close to an adult, yeah. So it was a teen, and so the police came and did a permanent exclusion. So, and that doesn't really fall within the policy. It's not a felony, but it is a hazardous situation. You don't know what somebody's waste has in it, all of those kinds of things, which puts people in a difficult position trying to clean everything up.
It's a public health issue.
Yeah.
And risk.
Yeah,
There is a catch-all, isn't there?
I think so. Yes, there is.
That can be used, there's a discretion.
Yeah. Let me see where. It's at the end. No, it's not. But there is. And even the police, when we were talking about it after the event happened, were like, well, that wasn't in the policy. No, it wasn't.
There is a hygiene standard.
So yeah, so those are some of the reasons that we've excluded people from the library. Unfortunately. And it's mostly mental health issues that cause the problems. Any additional thoughts about the behavior policy and how to kind of scale it down?
So you're moving the parks and transit skill.
Mhm. Okay. Great. So let's see
Moving
here.
on to old business.
The strategic plan. So you will notice that both the mission statement and the vision statement are different from what we decided upon at our last meeting. So let's talk about the vision statement. Darcy, the consultant at the state library, was like, it sounds really good, but it's too active and not looking at from a future perspective where you want to be. Because it was we help you, right? And so she was like, you can do we live in a place or we envision a place, or so I know that this doesn't flow as well as it did before. So I don't know if you have thought about it and have any suggestions for it.
I don't like that about the vision statement.
Okay.
I liked where it was going, but I was more focused on
Okay.
So I guess I can comment on the vision statement. Oh,
So right now, as it is written, it says, we envision a place where you discover your world and connect with your community to create a better life for everyone every day. We originally had a better everyday life for all.
Hmm.
And staff felt like, what is a everyday life? What is a better everyday life? You know, so they preferred a better life for everyone every day.
If we can make that every day words.
Yes, we can.
I like the changes. I think it's fine and still maintains the same intent of our discussion.
Yeah. Pretty much maintains.
Okay, so are we okay with the vision statement as it's currently written? All right. So the mission statement, Sandy and Hoodland libraries are safe, inclusive spaces where everyone from young readers to lifelong learners is free to explore, discover, and connect. Selena.
I had just a couple ideas that we could use to tweak it a little bit to make it more like a mission statement than like, it's what we're doing actively now rather than a state of being. So switching R, or in the very first portion, libraries are safe to provide. Well, my whole proposed mission statement would be Sandy and Hoodland libraries provide safe, welcoming spaces for everyone, from young readers to lifelong learners to explore, discover, and connect, supporting lifelong learning and community connection. So the couple changes are from R to provide, where it's like, hey, we're helping, we're here, but we're also actively in the community doing this for you. Changing inclusive to welcoming. Inclusive can feel a little abstract, so welcoming is more like generalized, and it's like warm, cozy, what you would think of a library. You want to sit down.
It's also more active as opposed to passive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Changing the is free to just to. It's more, again, it's more active and it's positive and it's a little less wordy as well. And then while we have these actions to do, explore, discover, and connect, where's the why? And so the why would be supporting lifelong learning and community connection. While it's adding that in there, there's any other ideas that are like, hey, maybe we want to focus more on promoting personal growth or more into community development, go more towards that direction, or educational learning, kind of where what our why is. But I figured, I'm like, yeah, I like that.
I like the changes to the active voice. I like the words for adding the why at the end, though I feel that's captured in the vision statement sufficiently.
We heard you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts?
Use of the word everyone again, I should say, oh, we've just done everyone and every day, we go back to everyone, just feels a little. But I don't have a better suggestion, so.
So Sandy
Oh
and
yeah, we can
Hoodland.
work on it.
So let's start with what you suggested for the beginning. Sandy and Hoodland libraries provide safe, welcoming spaces.
But we're all,
Even if there's not a better word.
Where people. Where you. Where.
Where, okay, we got a couple options here. Where all members of the community, all patrons, well, maybe not all patrons, residents of all ages, our entire community, or all learners would be a good one.
So residents of all ages, we might not have to have from young readers to lifelong learners.
Or curious minds of all ages, readers and learners alike.
I like the residential.
It's really cool. Can you imagine like when you're in a fantasy book, you're like, this is all ages.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably a reason I heard this word.
I like curious learners of all ages because that brings back in some of the language from the strategic planning session. I think we had intentionally chosen young readers and lifelong learners last go round because we were looking at that list of words that were shared by that broader group, and we felt it was important to keep some of that language. So curious carries that forward in a more succinct way.
Okay,
I like the curiosity as well.
so let me try to phrase it again. Sandy and Hudlin Libraries provide safe, welcoming spaces where curious residents of all ages are free to explore, discover, and connect. That's where we're at, sort of, right?
One more time.
So Sandy and Hudlin Libraries provide safe and welcoming spaces where curious residents of all ages are free to explore, discover, and connect.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me also.
Does residents, is it feel exclusionary? If you're not a resident of the community, you're not welcome.
Which where community members could come instead.
It also feels a little like residence is so formal and curious is so playful.
Mhm.
And then with welcoming in there.
Yeah.
How about visitors?
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Because we're
Then
talking
if
about
you,
a
then if you
space.
live here, are you a visitor?
You're a visitor to the library.
I know.
Yeah, well, how about we say that? We say,
Library visitors.
What did you say, Bruce? I think you got kind of spoken over.
I just said it sounded good. I do think you're right about the residents though, because I'm not a resident of Sandy.
Mhm.
You're not.
You can stay on the board, but yeah.
It is a problem because Sandy area.
Yes, but not.
Yeah.
There.
I like using community member instead of resident.
That sounds good.
Sound as patrons.
Yeah, why that's too formal to do though.
Because what if you have,
They are.
what if you have somebody that's coming through town? You know, maybe they're staying in an Airbnb, you know,
Right.
and you need to come in, check on a job application or something, or.
So they're not community members necessarily then.
Right, but they're library visitors.
Yeah,
Generations. About
curious generations.
No.
Instead of, we wouldn't do of all ages, so not, yeah. Where,
What's after that?
curious.
so where where curious residents of all ages are free to explore, discover, and connect.
We're curious learners.
But it just, but we're back to just people,
Mm.
people of all.
Yeah, we like.
Mm.
Yeah, just people. And we can go back.
So, okay, so our suggestion is, so do you want the word curious in there or just the word people? Okay. Let me try it. Sandy and Hudlin Libraries provide safe, welcoming spaces where people of all ages are free to explore, discover, and connect.
Yeah, because I mean, curious is great, and yet it's also kind of limiting. What if they're not curious, they just want to get something done?
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
They
We'll
don't
go
want
with
their.
Yeah, right, yeah. Yeah.
And making you do it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
any further thoughts online?
Nope.
All right. So I do have a staff meeting before the next city council meeting where we could possibly talk about this one more time and it could change a little bit, but
It's important though, I mean, I
I know.
think it's worthy.
yes, of getting everybody's input and making
Yeah.
sure everybody feels
Yeah.
like it resonates with
Yeah,
them,
and
right?
that it really is representative
Yeah.
of what we.
I like what we've come up with now, substituting welcoming and then just people.
Mhm.
It takes some of the sort of jargon,
Yeah.
over intellectual,
Mhm.
frivolity.
And
Yeah.
exclusivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
All right,
thank you for your input. Thank
Yeah.
you.
great. All right, so, we also, so this is the first time you have seen all of the goals and objectives that we have in the plan. So satisfy curiosity, which is about programming, which is about lifelong learning, right? So we're trying to link back to our mission statement with that first, with our only goal for this one. We've got lots of objectives and one goal. So the goal is all patrons. So we could use the word people instead of patron, if you prefer. In the library world, we tend to use the word patron, and I think people is a better,
I actually think patrons work really well there.
you want
I
patrons?
think so.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
I think in this document, I agree.
Okay. Okay. All patrons will be empowered to explore, discover, connect through library programs and collections. So in the first objective, we talk about how we will do 15 new programs that tie to the interests of from the needs assessment survey that we did. So that was all of the gardening and the hiking and all of the outdoor things that people said that they enjoyed doing, and people said they liked getting together with people and families, so we could do like board game nights, all kinds of different things that we've already been thinking about. So so we're hoping that in 1 year we will see a 20% increase of school-age children participating in programs. And maybe we should make that a 2-year goal, because we were thinking with the mobile library. But we will not have the mobile library on the road until January, so we'll be halfway through the fiscal year already. So I think it would be hard to get 20%. There's not a few things we need to update. And then by the end of fiscal year 2028, we are hoping to see a 10% increase in circulation of print and electronic materials. And of course, that's based on going out with the mobile library as well. So we're also hoping that by the end of fiscal year 2027, at least 200 people will attend programs related to information access, information literacy, or technology. So Maureen is already planning to take the mobile library out to do technology classes at the senior centers and the retirement homes, things like that. We also are hoping to sort of slip in some information literacy pieces in those classes. People generally don't, everybody says they want programs on information literacy, but then they don't attend, right? Yeah. I had a staff member who was in library school, and she's like, I really want to do a program on information literacy. And I'm like, you can talk to Maureen. She's tried it. See if she has any hints. So yes.
Because we all think other people need information.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody else needs it, but I already know how to do it. Great.
Good. Would that include the schedule a library, book a library?
Yeah, those would include, yeah,
Okay.
book a librarian is a
Okay.
technology class,
Yep.
ultimately, so it's a one-on-one. But yes, those fall under there as well.
I have a bit of a comment.
Yes, Bruce.
I wasn't part of generating this, and I tried to actually connect to the last meeting, but my Wi-Fi in the Adirondacks of New York did not work, so I apologize.
Good.
I'm disappointed, I think, a little bit, or not disappointed, it's not the right term, I don't think, but it was nice to see the 2026 goal, and I understand why that has to move out. But it was
Mhm.
sort of nice to see something in the next 3 years, each year. Some kind of, something that would say, okay, we've got these big plans, but that we break those down into something that, something in the next 18 months or 12,
Mhm.
16 months, and then the following year and the following year after that. It would, and then order them in that order, as opposed to, so here's what's coming net first, and then next and next and next.
Mhm. So we could think about scaling one of these down to be able to meet it by 2026, or maybe by December of 2026, so we have a full year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I understand the need for that.
Yeah.
Year end of 2026.
Yeah,
Okay,
so maybe instead of fiscal year, maybe we have by the end of calendar year 2026.
right. Okay, thank you.
Would that work, Bruce?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then like I said, it'd be nice if they were kind of ordered in order, just seems to make
Yeah.
sense to me.
And I can reorder them for sure.
Sure. Okay.
Is it possible to turn the volume up?
I think it's up as high as it'll go. We can't hear you very well, so make sure when you talk, you speak loud.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, turn your volumes up high.
Yeah.
Sarah, for the goal around programs for the Latino community, I'm
Yes.
curious what you based the number of people on. Like, is that your own attendance of programs to date?
We haven't really held very many programs for the adult Latino community, so we're unsure of how many people will attend. Katie has done, I mean, she does Dia de los Niños and Dia de los Muertos, where some people from the Latino community or Hispanic community come. And I think we need to change that word from Latino to Hispanic. Sorry, I just noticed it was in there.
I usually use Latino/Hispanic. I think that is probably the most inclusive.
Mhm.
For Mount Hood Oneida, we typically have about 100 people come to the events, and they're mostly Hoodland specific. I know it's slightly different population, but just thinking of Sandy being a bigger population, 75 might be doable. I mean, especially by 2028. That would be my suggestion for that one.
Okay. I will shoot for 75. That sounds good to me. Yeah, we were just thinking, because Katie has also done programs for Hispanic, what is it called? The month. Hispanic Heritage Month, thank you. She's done a few programs for that, but her attendance is really up and down. Some years she has 20 people come and half of them are white and half of them are Hispanic. So we're just sort of trying to get into doing more programming for adult Latino community. And that came out of the stakeholder meeting. Blanca brought that up. She's the manager at Vista Apartments, right? And so I really wanted to make sure that we heard her and have something in our plan that we will be working on for that community.
This could be a follow-up, Sarah, for Mount Hood Oneida, where you're going into a year-long like planning cycle. So maybe we could meet with you and Blanca, maybe Ant Farm, and do some brainstorming on how we could partner to help achieve this goal together.
That sounds great. I know that Cleveland Library has somebody who has worked with Mount Hood Oneida in the past. Do you know if it's the same organizers right now that were there before?
So our new board president is Christina Saldivar, but our board is all the same people still. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you could send me her contact information, the new board president.
Yes, I'm happy to do that.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other thoughts about the satisfy curiosity goal and objectives? It's funny, no matter how many times I look at these, I always see something that right away I'm like, yeah, well, that's not doable, or that's really low, you know, it's funny. All right, create young readers in early literacy. We have 2 goals and an objective under each goal. The first goal is that caregivers will learn how to integrate early literacy tips and engagement strategies at home. And that by the end of fiscal year 2026, we will enhance literacy outcomes so that kids will be prepared when they enter school. And then this is about surveying. 50% of people when surveyed will say that library programs help to better prepare their kids for school. And then children from birth to age 5 will have enhanced and updated kids area with developmentally appropriate toys that encourage play-based learning, support language development, and promote school readiness. And so our goal by the end of this year, fiscal year, will be that at least 2,000 kids will have interacted with our enhanced kids area. Yeah, we're just getting started on this, so it won't be for the full year, but we're still hoping that by the end of the fiscal year 2026, 2,000 kids will have cycled through this. Yeah. And we did put up the I Spy wall. I don't know if you saw that, but we regularly do scavenger hunts where all around the library there are letters and the kids have to go around and collect them on their sheet and figure out what the phrase says. But the I Spy wall was just about looking at pictures and finding them and writing down on the sheet different things about them. So that was neat. And then we've got the tiny table that's in there for toddlers, and we've been covering it with paper and allowing kids to write and color and stuff like that on it. So we've already made a few small changes, and we're going to continue. Monica's working on making more changes. And Hillman will have some iteration of part of this, but it's such a small space. It's going to be, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we can come up with to put in it, but we are working on something. Any thoughts about the Create Young Reader goals and objectives?
I'm impressed with the first one. I'm eager to see how you're able to accomplish it.
It's mostly about story times. So we'll people after story time and the 1,000 books before kindergarten program. So those are the 2 pieces, and we will be taking both of those programs out on the mobile library. We're hoping to go to daycares and preschools. So we'll be seeing a lot more younger kids and hopefully some of their caregivers with them.
Okay, sounds good.
Are you guys going to be doing like maybe more sessions with like read to a dog or something like that as part of strengthening early readers?
Well, these are for birth to age 5, both of these. So yeah. And early literacy is very specifically about birth to age 5. So and so when they can start reading, they're generally older than 5. I mean, I started reading when I was 5, but my sister taught me, so she was 10 and wanted to be able to stop reading books to me. So I'm gonna teach you how to read yourself.
That's a driven objective.
Yes. Yeah, so we could do it as part of the general programming, but it wouldn't fall with any of those goals and objectives, but it's a good thought. Yeah, it's a fun program, and I know that the kids who come to read to the dog love to read to the dog. They're so excited every time they come in, and if Tanis is not here, they're so disappointed. There was last year a young girl who came in. She wanted to show Tanis that she had made a little shirt for her doll, and I mean, she wanted to show Tanis everything she was doing. So it was so cute. Yeah. It's a fun program. So know your community and be an informed citizen. So in this one, we used residents because we are talking specifically about people who live in Sandy or the surrounding communities. So residents will have access to accurate and up-to-date information about Sandy and surrounding communities through city and or library resources and programming. So we've already talked to, this goal may have been in there before when we talked about it before, but already talked to Jeff Aprati and Tyler, city manager and assistant manager, about the library working on the pages on the website and trying to, because they're not very complete currently. And there's a lot of community center programs in the city page, but not any library programs. And we want to try to combine everything and have everything in one place, is our goal. So we're going to be doing a concerted effort to try to organize that better and to add more things into it that are pertinent.
And how much of our programming shows up on the city calendar? You know, because there's like the classes and, you know, community classes.
I haven't actually
Yeah, I'd
looked
be
at
curious
the
to look
full
at
city
that.
calendar because I'm always looking at the library calendar.
Yeah. That would be great if everything was integrated there.
So these are the pages that I'm talking about, the about Sandy, the visit Sandy, the move to Sandy, and community events. Maybe we can even do something with the get around now. We haven't looked at that one yet. And then like Parks and Recreation is on this community page, but the library
Yeah.
isn't on the community page. So yeah,
That's
anyway,
wrong.
yeah.
I mean, get around town, should we visit the library,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. So those are the pages we're talking about working on. And then you asked about the city calendar. So let's see if we can find the city calendar. I don't even remember where it is.
I wonder if it's under the community center.
So if I go to the library page though, I can then look at the library calendar.
Right.
And then I can go out to the full city calendar. So here is the library calendar and you will see all the library programs on here, right?
Right.
So here's our library advisory board meeting this evening. And we had a summer makerspace program earlier today. So let's go up here instead of departments, library, let's say,
We could do departments any,
Yeah,
it shows
Yeah.
everything is on there.
yeah. And let's apply it. Not very easy.
No.
Or,
intuitive.
yeah,
I actually just Googled City of Sandy.
mhm,
calendar.
Yeah.
And it came up just like. that.
Yeah.
But there should be, there
It's
should,
Right, you see the homeless story time,
yeah,
the Lego Club.
Yeah.
Fireworks Circle, I can hang out, but it also includes city council meeting.
right. Here's the city council meeting and here's the Goonies movie that's playing this Friday in the
in
park.
the park, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Do you have any
Yeah.
information on how much this website is used?
I
Yeah,
have not,
generally.
I have not seen recent statistics. I know how many hits the library website gets. Each year I have to report that to the state library. I haven't done my report for the state library yet. It's due in October. So I will be working on it soon in the next couple months. So, but I have not heard about city use, overall. So,
There should really be a single like city events calendar.
Yeah, it's
Link.
on the main page.
Yeah, on the main page.
Mhm.
I mean, that shows this.
Yep, we
That
can,
has all departments.
Yeah,
we can make that happen
Yeah.
without having to Google it.
yeah.
Yeah, that should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be on
And
the main
it, and it
page.
could be there,
It is.
and maybe it's just buried.
It's under community. Community events.
Yeah, so it's on the community events page. Let's see.
But that being said, library stuff's not showing.
Mhm.
So, but it is
Yeah, see, there's
through
no,
all
there's
the
no.
Parks and Recreation calendar.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, mine, you could do it on, it comes up as events and then it all shows them, but.
Weird.
Hmm. Um,
Yeah, it should be super easy.
Yeah.
From that main page, and
Yeah.
it should say calendar.
yeah. Okay. Thank you for the feedback. When we are working on this, I will make sure we,
How do you know how those people will visit this library specifically when they're doing move to Sandy pages, for example?
Mhm.
Will there be like a separate link and there'll be some way in the background to track it?
There is a way to track how many people are going to each individual page, and our hope, and I haven't talked to the IT department yet. I'm not sure if we wrote a goal about it. We talked about it quite a bit. About trying to track how many. So we do say here, by the end of fiscal year 2028, at least 300 people will visit these pages.
I'm sorry.
And
2027.
20, no,
What was the number?
nope, by the end of fiscal year 2027, we will have reorganized everything. And then by the end of fiscal year 2028, we say at least 300 people will visit. So we need to get a baseline of how many people
Yeah.
are visiting them currently,
Right.
and then, and probably change that number to go with it. So, I did have a question into IT about it, but I haven't heard back. So I will have to follow up on that.
Yeah.
Update the notes.
Or have it be from.
We will
The
see
date.
we'll see a 50% increase, or we could do a percentage increase maybe over the current,
Yeah,
so that we don't.
or, from the date of adopting
Mhm.
this new strategic plan. Starting with.
Right, like 12 months from date of adoption.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that we'll have this many visits.
Yeah,
So I have a couple comments.
yes,
First is the same thing. It would make sense to me to order these by sequence of dates.
yep,
And the second is, I like your objective for having programs to get more of a dialogue with local officials, et cetera.
mhm,
Being a member of a local CPO, community planning organization, I can attest to how difficult it is to get people involved and to get the county involved or other local officials involved. And so I'm glad you have this in here. I also understand it's going to be difficult, but after 3 years of effort, having only 50 people attend for a total, I gather, sounds a little like I wish we could come up with ways that we'd be more successful than that.
mhm.
So I'll just toss that out there. I don't have a good solution or a good number to go for, but I'm sure you guys have really thought about this. And
Right. And the mayor and city manager are on board with this idea. The planning department could come and talk, but we talked about the county doing a talk, and these would likely be monthly. I'm guessing starting in 2026, since we're already in August of 2025. It's amazing how quickly time goes by. And so, yeah, we, and I know, people don't come to city council meetings, and then, they complain about not knowing what's going on in the city.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it sounds like you have that experience with the CPO too.
Yep.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if getting the library involved with those groups and getting the word out through the library will gather some more people who are interested in hearing the discussion or having a discussion or a dialogue with city.
Well, and city council meetings can be, I mean, a little launch, and there's not really like a place to be like, I just have a question.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, so having a different atmosphere might be really, really helpful.
Mhm.
Sarah, I have some overall feedback. I'm a little disappointed these are so City of Sandy focused, and I'm curious how we could add an objective more general to the Hoodland area. What comes to mind for me is I like the move to Hoodland type resources. I know it's complicated from probably who manages the website component, so maybe it's not a web tool, but some kind of packet of information or something. Orchid Health has a social worker on staff now that might partner with the library to come up with like a resource packet or something like that. Lynn, I don't know what your thoughts are on what something like that would be relevant for the Hoodland. Maybe something for seniors.
What Teresa was saying is that she's sad that these are so City of Sandy focused. And that it would be nice if we could do some sort of a packet for moving to Hoodland that came out of that was gathered by the Hoodland Library. But then so when somebody comes in to apply for a library card, Teresa, is that when you hand out the Hoodland packet of information? How would you, because then somebody is already moved and they've already made the decision to move, so they're not going to be.
Yeah, that's a great point. What I have in the back of my mind is just thinking of the student population that I support. And a lot of those families that I've observed moving into our school district are moving in very quickly. I don't know that it's always like the most organized or joyous time for all of those families. So yes, that point when they come into the library, they're already there. But I observe that anyways. Like they literally show up, and they show up at school the next day. So it's very rapid in that nature. And that is some of the, especially of families, is my observation in the Hoodland area.
Okay. Yeah. I can work with my librarian staff and Sandy and the Hoodland staff, and maybe together we can come up with some ideas for different things that could be in the packet. I mean, there used to be a Chamber of Commerce up there, but there's not anymore. So they're not doing anything, because that's generally where a welcome packet comes out of, is the Chamber of Commerce.
I think it's restarting.
Is
I think
it?
they're trying to get it restarted. Like Lori Calvin, I know is really working on trying to get that to.
Yeah, I saw a call for anyone with a business.
Yes, I think it was Lori.
Very, very early days. Not to do that.
Okay.
I mean, you do have the CPOs, you have, there is a group meeting. I think it's every quarter, and I can never remember the name of it, but it's where all of the 501c3s.
Right, and the library goes to that meeting.
To that, so.
So we
information
could
that
gather
comes up.
information from that group even.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thought, Teresa. Thank you.
And Teresa, what would you envision in the package? What packet? I'm getting like available resources and contacts to community groups like the CPOs, the library, of course.
Yeah, I think it's probably honestly a lot that the library does have in their front entryway, like bus schedules, food bank resources, like a flyer about Orchid Health and other healthcare providers, other benefits and county resources, and just kind of, I mean, it could just honestly be in like one little baggie, or something like that, and in a warm connection. People know Molly so well on the mountain, for example, and just knowing somebody, I think, is really helpful too.
Yeah.
Be a little tour of the library, or like even a little kids scavenger hunt. It doesn't all have to be the serious stuff. It could be something fun too.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Job information, I think, would be important.
I was also thinking that somehow we might be able to get the county mentioned in here as Clackamas County. I don't know how likely a Clackamas County Board of Commissioner is to come out for a meeting, but if we can sort of name them in our strategic plan and be like, this is what we're hoping.
Yeah.
It could inspire them. And I know that a few of them have come out here for meetings.
Mhm.
We've even had a couple come to that.
Woo. Yeah,
So do you change that to local elected officials? Look, city and county administration?
that's what I was thinking, yeah.
Mhm.
And then do you, I mean, on that same goal, you do city of Sandy / Dublin,
Yeah.
as well.
Mountain communities or.
Yeah, I'll try to figure out a way to get it in there. And we may have an objective specific to Hoodland,
Yeah.
like creating a packet of information to
Mhm.
hand out when people come in to get a library card. And, I even know how many library cards we do each year at Hoodland Library.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little bit easier, so,
Yeah, the track.
yeah.
Yeah. The Women's Club tried to do a welcome packet a few years ago and really weren't able to pull it together, but that was before the community meetings, before the CPO, so I think now there's enough momentum to be able to get information. Just linking people to the senior center, to the schools, to the
Yeah,
the obvious stuff, because it's all kind of hidden away.
Mhm.
yeah. All right, very good thoughts. Thank you. Anything else you want to talk about? Know your community or be an informed citizen? All right, then our final goal and objectives is for Celebrate Diversity. So patrons who belong to an underserved or underrepresented group feel represented in the collections, programs, and space in the library. So our first objective, by the end of fiscal year 2027, we will implement at least 3 new programs or displays that highlight diverse cultures, authors, and experiences. And then we say at least 100 people will have attended these programs or utilized the items on display. The next objective, 75% of people when surveyed who attend programs that celebrate diversity will say that the library is a very welcoming or extremely welcoming space, and that they feel more comfortable in the Sandy and Hoodland communities because of these programming efforts.
I love that that's including welcoming, going back to our mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, we will have reviewed 50% of our collection to ensure that we have an accurate percentage of all of our current populations.
What is an accurate percentage of our?
So looking at the demographics, what percentage of Hispanic people or LGBTQ people are in our community, and that the percentage of materials that we have of the overall materials in a certain section align with those numbers.
Is that like a library? I mean, is that happen all over the place, or is that specific to this library?
That is a trend that started probably about 5 years ago, of people talking about trying to make sure that that when the Own Voices movement sort of came out and all of those things, that that you had those items in your collection to represent your population that you serve.
Would it also be for other diversity groups aside from the 2 you mentioned?
Oh, of course. I mean, any group you can think of. Neurodivergent is a good one. So that we have the number of books on autism. I mean, it's harder to get those statistics for our community, but we can try to get all of those types of statistics as well. Yeah. So.
On that first objective, could it be cultures, authors, or experiences rather than all 3? I don't know what anyone else's thoughts on that are, but it feels. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
And sorry, one more, is there a way just to clarify?
The appropriate
Yeah.
percentage.
Yes.
We tried to come up. This was as close we as we could get with trying to describe it. Do you have any thoughts on what would make?
Representation?
I was gonna say the same thing. Representative percentage.
A representative percentage?
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Because we can't get accurate. Really,
On a lot of them, yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
How many times have we done this with this document? Like 3,000?
Oh, yeah.
Feels
It feels like I should know it so well, and then I read it, and I'm like, what? What am I thinking? Yeah. Any other thoughts about Celebrate Diversity? Anything you feel like you wish were in the strategic plan that you don't see outlined in the strategic plan?
Makes me feel good.
Thank you for all of your suggestions and input. This has been great. Now we'll get to go into the document and work with it again. Next week.
And then have another staff meeting.
Yeah, and I mean, and this really is a living document, so if at some point we see that it's not, like in the last strategic plan, you know, COVID happened right in the middle of it, and so the library board decided we were gonna extend it. It was originally a 5-year plan, and we extended it to 7, because the 2 years were just sort of lost years, right? So I went in and updated it, and, you know, crossed things out and read, and then put the new things in and tried to make it readable, but yeah. So anytime we as a group think of some, you know, think, oh, well, this should have been in there, we can certainly go in and add it. This is not set in even ink, I would say. So let's go back and, okay.
Grant and fundraising.
So, we have now applied for 2 grants. The Oregon Community Foundation grant was due on July 11th, and that was for $40,000. And then just this past Monday, I was hoping for August 1st, but it was August 4th. We applied for the Ford Family Foundation grant, and that's one that doesn't have a specific deadline. You can turn it in anytime, but we're trying to group them all together, right, to try to get funds all similar times. So,
What was that? What was the amount on that?
25,000. Yep. And then we are currently working on writing the Roundhouse Foundation grant, which is also, they specifically, so I thought it would be for 30,000, but they specifically say $25,000 for any vehicle. So we're not asking for funds for a vehicle, but we're asking for funds to upfit a vehicle. So I think we would fall within that $25,000 range as well. So we're, I mean, between all of them, that would be $90,000. And not sure how much of it will come through. We have, in addition to that, been fundraising, which we talked about our restaurant fundraisers a little bit ago. We also have Blind Coffee Roasters, who is at the Sandy Farmers Market, offered to do a coffee fundraiser for us, where we design a label for a coffee. We get to choose what coffee it goes on. And then he sells it and gives us $5 of each bag sold back.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have already picked a name for, and it's gonna be Really Good Coffee.
Dark roast?
Yeah. Um, and it'll have a little picture of the mobile library on it, the
Nice.
label will, and it'll say, you know, $5 from each bag, the proceeds go to the mobile library and things like that, so. He said that he would send it out through he's got newsletters, that he sends out, and he has subscribers to copies that he'll send
Oh,
the
yeah.
information out to, and then of course we can market it through our channels as well, so
Nice.
we're excited about that. So hopefully that will happen soon. And then just for individual amounts for fundraising, we have currently raised over $15,000 between Sandy and Hilton. Yeah, we're getting the word out. We did the ads. They're currently in the Outlook because the Sandy Post went away. When we set up our ads, we were talking to the Sandy Post, and when our ads ran, that was the first week of the Outlook. So, but I know that all subscribers to the Sandy Post got changed to the Outlook, the library. Yes, it is, which now includes Sandy and Estacada. So, so that was a little disappointing, not to get any heads up. But even the ad guy, I feel like it was sort of disingenuous to sell us these ads that for the Sandy Post that were then in the Outlook, and he was like, when I sold you the ads, I didn't even know that that was gonna happen. So it happened, and things happened immediately, so.
Well, I don't think Brit knew.
Yeah, no,
It didn't sound like.
no, until she was let go.
Well, I think we should get an extension on the ads.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Well, from his point of view, we now have a broader audience for our ads.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if anybody in Gresham is gonna donate for the mobile library in Sandy. Yeah. It's not gonna go to Gresham for sure.
So what, the new library, they already had a beautiful library.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they could buy coffee.
yeah, yes,
Yeah. They could buy coffee.
Yeah.
And besides
So-
all those Gresham patrons that come to us because.
we do have a number of people who come in and get a library card and say that they prefer our library over. So that's always nice to hear.
Yeah,
Because only one person puts on.
Yeah.
No, appropriate, I'm sorry.
No. But probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they canceled their mobile library,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
Oh,
Multnomah
yeah.
County did. Yeah.
Did they say why?
they felt it was ineffectual.
I think it's interesting. Yeah, when you have a new program, you have to work with it
Yeah.
a little bit and tweak it and talk to people about what works and what doesn't and where to go and all of those things, which we've been trying to do. And we've already done one survey about what communities the vehicle should park in and things like that. And we're gonna do it again in October to get more input and stuff like that. So we're hoping to start with some good input. But then I'm sure, even in our timelines for all the grants, we say like midway through this grant cycle. So the grants are from November to November sort of. So we're saying like in June, we will be assessing and changing things that need to be changed. And then at the end of the year, we'll be doing the same thing. And hopefully every 6 months to a year, until we really get things dialed in.
I would think maybe Multnomah County would think it less important because it's a very urban county.
Yeah.
And so you can get to the libraries a little bit. And they don't have the significant numbers of unincorporated, they have Sandy as well.
Or the trees.
Yeah.
Do you have dates that that they're going to announce the grant?
So for the Oregon Community Foundation, it's November that they'll let us know. The Ford Family Foundation say 8 to 10 weeks from the time you turn in the grant, you'll find out. And I'm not sure of the timeline on the Roundhouse Foundation actually, but I can get it to you. Yeah. Yeah. I know a lot about the ones we've already applied for because we went through them over and over and over and looking at all the pieces and making sure our grant matched up with all of their areas of focus and all of those things. So we just started on the Roundhouse Foundation one, so probably by next week I will have it dialed in.
If you could refresh my memory with the grant from the city, and if these all three came through, and with the 15,000 you got so far, how far to the goal are we?
So with the 150,000 that the city gave us and the 10,493 that we took out of the Hoodland budget from the last budget cycle. So that's 160,000, let's say 500, another 90,000. So 240,000, plus 15,000, 255,000 is about where we're at right now.
You're at 160 plus 90 is 250 plus the extra 50.
Right, 265 plus the Hoodland, so 275. So we've got to get to 320,000. So if all of those grants come through at the full amounts, most of the grants say that they give less than the amount requested. So like the Oregon Community Foundation, we requested 40,000, but they say their average is somewhere between about 25,000.
Okay.
It's hard to know if those will come through at all, of course, and then if they'll come through at the full amounts.
So buy lots of coffee.
Yeah. Go to the restaurants, buy lots of coffee, encourage your neighbors to do the same thing and to donate. Yeah. We still have a ways to go, even with those grants. So, yeah. Any other questions about the grants or fundraising? All right. So the last thing on our agenda is sort of a placeholder to talk about our programs that we had this last month that were all wonderful. So we started the month actually it was in July. Our first summer reading program had 119 people attend in the park, which was by far the largest, I think, summer reading program we've had.
Yeah.
So that was wonderful. It was Juggle Mania, Reese Thomas, who's a fantastic juggler. So that was a lot of fun. We recently had our teen intern, her program, Life Cycle of a Salmon, at the Sandy Fish Hatchery. And there were 120-ish people who came to that program between adults and kids. She did an amazing job. She set up 6 stations that each had a staff person or volunteer at the station to lead the activity that was at the station. And they were very creative. Uh-oh, my battery is running low. We may lose you. We're gonna try to run through this quickly.
Okay.
7:30.
So yes, they were amazing. Everything from creating a mountain and having liquid food coloring that then the kids had spray bottles of water to spray to get. So the food coloring was the salmon, and they had to spray them to get them to go all the way to the rivers, into the ocean. And then, and each station, the person talked about all of the things that were related to it. And then they have to swim all the way back up at the end of the season. And I mean, there was a lot of education happening at that program. It was amazing.
I have a funny story about that. When I worked at OPB, the executive producer of Nature came and did the presentation.
Oh,
to
cool.
some members and so on. But he was at great pains to tell us how, everything about the salmon and this program we've done, and we're all sitting there looking at it. Like, you do realize you're in the Pacific.
Yeah.
Oh, learn this in one.
We know.
Yeah. And then our final amazing program that happened, another 120 people came, was Quidditch in the park. And the kids had a blast
Yeah.
playing Quidditch. They had so much fun. We're gonna definitely, what was that?
Were there adults doing it too?
I don't think there were adults playing Quidditch, but there were definitely adults on the sidelines cheering for it.
I had several people that were like, "It was an adult thing right there."
Okay.
Yeah, there's a possible adult program.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those few people on the mountain, which.
yeah. So, yeah, we've just been knocking it out of the park with some of our programs recently, and I'm so excited for the staff, and they're so excited, you know, when they come back from a program like that, they're just like, all just, yeah, it's wonderful.
When Chris came in after the life cycle of Santa, he's, oh my God, he was just like, oh,
Yeah.
and he said there were like 200 people there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, so we're busy. Seeing a lot of people, helping a lot of people. And we're checking in and out tons of, especially kids' books. So summer reading this is I think it's gonna be larger than previous years. And Chris has already had, I think, twice the number of teens signs up as we had the previous year, so
Sweet.
he's super excited about that. Yeah.
Well, Dungeons and Dragons, that is going really.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got 2 sections of Dungeons and Dragons happening for teens in the library now, so, yeah.
Anything from the online folks before we adjourn?
Not for me.